Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And I'm Meg Hofdahl.
And today it is Meg's pick, and she picked The Crush. And I have never seen this movie. I got to watch it with her, and now I'm terrified of Meg because I think she based her personality on this movie.
Which came first? You'll never know. Oh, okay, so The Crush came out in April of 1993. It's written and directed by Alan Shapiro, whose only other movie is Flipper, I think, or something like that, with Elijah Wood in it. And this is Alicia Silverstone's feature film debut. It's 2 years before she made her splash in Clueless. It was filmed in Vancouver, BC, which was cool for me. I saw this movie probably when I was about 12 or 13 for the first time. And a museum in the movie where Alicia Silverstone goes to confront Carrie Elwes. I had gone to a field trip there as a kid around the time that the movie was filmed. So knowing that I breathed the same air as Carrie Elwes was very exciting when I saw that. So it has a very low critic rating and audience score.
What? Why?
Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't loved.
I guess I have a hard time being objective about this movie because Carrie Elwes is so hot in it.
I mean, it had his butt.
My God.
Yeah, he is so hot in it. So we got to put on our feminist caps now, Kelly.
I think I threw mine in the trash after I watched this movie.
It had a budget of $6 million and it made $13 million. So, it did okay. I think most of all, it really sort of started Alicia Silverstone's career. So that's a good thing. Something kind of fascinating, a kind of weird fact is, and I didn't notice this, is that her name in the movie actually gets dubbed over. We were watching a DVD. No, we watched the Amazon version of it. I had it on DVD as well. But Alan Shapiro, who wrote and directed this movie, he based her on a real person and named the character after the real person. So obviously he was sued.
Oh my God, that's bold. So do you know the name?
Yeah, so the real name was Darian Forrester, and that's her name in the movie, in the theatrical release. Apparently, if you watch, a trailer of it, it has the name Darian, but her name is dubbed over to be Adrian.
That is crazy. Why would you not change the name?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like writing 101. It's okay if you're going to, sort of base a character on someone, but maybe don't use the actual full name with the first and last name. So he was sued, and so from now on, when you get most of the versions of this movie, except maybe the VHS, it has Adrian dubbed over, which they did a good job because I didn't even notice. The plot of this movie is about Nick, who moves to Seattle, and he is starting a new job, and he he moves into the carriage house of this rich family, and there's a 14-year-old girl living there. So, Kelly, why don't you share why you were scared watching this movie with me?
Well, first of all, this is Meg's dream if Carrie Elwes moved into her backyard. But second, he's a writer, and he's kind of a struggling writer. I mean, the first box that he carries into his apartment is of books, and I'm like, okay, this is the love of your life, and he's blonde. Mm-hmm. And then Alicia Silverstone sneaks into his room and rewrites his piece, and she's a better writer. I mean, not that it's about that, but I feel like you might go and rewrite something, and that's you. And then she loves Wuthering Heights. What are you doing, Meg?
She has a Wuthering Heights poster. She mentions it. So, yeah, maybe I didn't have a personality before I watched this movie. And maybe I have been stalking Carrie Elwes my whole life.
I mean, your husband is blonde, and you are a better writer than him. Just kidding.
No, that's the truest thing you've ever said.
Now, tell me, though, this Wuthering Heights plot point, he's like, I came over to borrow a book, and, it's a lie and stuff. But are there parallels between that novel and this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was definitely done on purpose, because Wuthering Heights is very much sort of a distorted love story. It's gothic. It's about a woman and a man who love each other, Heathcliff and Catherine. They have a sort of love that is hard to describe. One of my favorite quotes is when she's trying to describe how much she loves him. She says, "I am Heathcliff." And it's almost an obsession. And they live together, and they're actually raised together from childhood. So they're sort of like brother and sister. So there's a little bit of a warped nature, and there's some violence, and it's not like a nice, happy love story. So I definitely think that was done on purpose. And she loves Wuthering Heights, for a reason. And I happen to love Wuthering Heights and Carrie Elwes. And, you don't need to look any further into it than that.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, just think of that song. Carrie loses his accent in this movie, and this is where I insert that Barack Obama pic, like, I ain't even mad, because he's so hot!
He's so hot! And he's, like, wearing these, like, oversized Penn State sweatshirts and glasses, and it's so 90s hot, and he's, like, got, like, acid wash jeans and, like, sneakers, and I'm still just so in love. Like, I just have hard eyes. I'm sorry. I understand why this 14-year-old girl is obsessed.
Oh. And it's interesting because, he's just, like, dismissive of her, and he's like, get out of here, kid. And then he hears her play the piano, and he realizes that she's super talented, and, it ends up letting himself get drawn in, and they have a kiss, and then he is like, okay, we can't do this. So he's trying to do the right thing, but it's like he can't help himself. Wait, do you want to say anything about that?
Well, obviously, it's problematic on like 18 different levels. I mean, he puts himself in a situation where he brings a 14-year-old girl. I mean, we both have 11-year-old boys, so just think about that. A 14-year-old girl he brings to, like, a lighthouse alone at night, and there ends up being a kiss. And, that's on him. Even though she kissed him, it doesn't matter. That's on him.
Something that struck me was, do you remember these old school answering machines? They were the least private thing. If there was a message on there, you had to freaking play it out to the world, and everybody could hear it. And so, he has his coworker over, and Alicia Silverstone's messages are just playing out there to the public. Oh my God, I hate voicemail, but I really hated answering machines.
Yes, you're right. Everybody hears your business. And there's so many, like, messages in this and landline phones in this. It's very 90s. Yeah, I mean, and slowly, we start seeing, like, this is going more than just, like, she has a cute little crush on him. Like, this is starting to get out of hand. And you know what I have to say, though? I think this might be the first time in Horror Rewind history no one dies in this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I, in my memory, thought people died, but I don't... They referenced that she was obsessed with another guy before and he died, but none of our characters actually died.
Yeah, that's true. Like, Amber Benson, who is her friend... she's from Buffy, so I was excited to see her. She played Tara on Buffy. She, falls off the horse because Alicia Silverstone said she'd, to her saddle for her and didn't. She just breaks her arm and then gets tied up at the end, but she's still alive. And then the girlfriend gets stung by wasps, but she doesn't die either. Yeah, and like in my memory, I was like, oh yeah, the girlfriend dies, and Cheyenne, the friend, dies. Like, that's just how I remembered it. Because it's probably not hard for you to imagine, I watched this movie a lot when I was, like, a preteen. They set up her bedroom and just how her parents treat her and everything as she's such a little girl still. And not to say that 14-year-old girls aren't little, but I remember being 14 and feeling like I know everything and I could date this 28-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's such an awkward age. I think we all look back at, like, 14 as being probably one of the worst ages. I remember, like, trying smoking when I was that age because I was so cool. And I remember just feeling like you're just in this weird where you still kind of like little girl things, but you are, you're interested in men, not necessarily boys anymore. You're interested in men. And because boys haven't matured as much as girls have, it's just awkward. And I certainly wasn't as stunningly beautiful as she was at 14. I mean, Alicia Silverstone's not 14 in this movie either. But it definitely, I almost, we see everything from Nick's perspective in this movie. I would have liked to spend more time, like, humanizing her because, she's sort of put in that, like, fatal attraction, single white female role. But it would have been fun to kind of see even more of her humanity because, I don't know, there's something understandable about the way she's acting, but maybe I'm saying that because she is me.
Yes. I am Heathcliff.
Yeah. I am Carrie.
Speaking of 14-year-old girls and their obsessions, she's got this thing with horses. Like, she rides them and not races them, but competes with them. Were you ever into horses?
No, I know so many girls who had, like, I mean, I didn't have a lot of, like, rich friends, so I didn't know girls who actually, like, had horses. But I knew girls who, like, had all the horse stuff, and they loved talking about horses and dressage and all that stuff. I just never, I mean, I like animals, but I've never ridden a horse. Like, I don't know anything.
I was just going to ask if you've ridden a horse. And where I came from, I mean, not that horses aren't expensive everywhere, but I did know a lot more people with horses because they lived on farms. And so I have ridden a horse, but I never trotted on a horse. It was just like on the driveway and somebody was like holding the reins because I was little. I mean, before this, but like Christopher Reeves ended up getting paralyzed and then eventually succumbing to all of his problems because he fell off a horse. Like, I don't want that to happen to me.
No, that is scary. It's sort of like one of those things of like, okay, if you get injured in a car accident, like, that sucks, but that's life. Like, you have to drive a car from here to there. But, like, I'm not the biggest ride person, and my feeling is always like, if I get thrown off a roller coaster, that's just stupid. And it's the same with a horse. It's like, I didn't need to be doing that.
Yeah, I know. It's just like an unnecessary risk. That's how I feel about skiing, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, I'm lazy.
We're more of indoor girls,
Yeah.
as Leonardo DiCaprio would say, as Jack in Titanic. Okay, so Carrie is hiding in her closet. I'm just gonna call him Carrie.
Yeah.
He's hiding in her closet, and my thought was, a girl this rich would not have wire hangers.
Oh, wow. I wasn't thinking about that. But yeah, that's true. So he goes into her closet, and then she realizes he's in there. It is my dream.
And undresses in front of him and makes like direct eye contact. They needed the wire hangers because the hangers needed to, make some noise together. So it was plot wise.
Yeah.
Meg has left, her soul has left her body. I'm afraid she's gonna kill me.
I just want Carrie Ellis in my closet. Like, I'll tie him up like socks.
Oh dear Lord. This is problematic. Okay, there's a theme in this movie, dads being protective of their daughters. I mean, there's that theme in life in general, but it's what is it, like the thing that was out a couple years ago about the rules for dating my daughter. Like, really, dads have rules, and then the anti that was, no, she can do whatever she wants because she's her own person.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I understand that men know how men think, and it absolutely terrifies them then that their babies are out in the world. And it's like that saying of, like, when you have a son, you have one penis to worry about, and you have a daughter, you have all the penises to worry about. And it's like so old-fashioned, and it's like girls can handle themselves, and if you raise a good, if you do a good job raising your daughter, you shouldn't have to worry about it. So I understand both sides of it, where we're protective of our children. I don't have girls, but I think any worry that we have or concern over girls, we should have for boys too, and we should be worried who they're dating too.
Yeah, exactly. I kept wondering, because this was my first watch, I kept wondering how the heck he was going to get out of it. She's setting it up so perfectly, and she's a rich white girl with rich white powerful parents. They're going to believe her when she cries rape.
Well, and that's another thing too, and I don't think that you could make this movie now because, does this perpetuate the idea that women pretend that they've been raped? Because in this movie, she does pretend that she's been raped. Now, this is, it's important that we realize this is such a small, tiny, tiny sliver of, rapes in the world are made up. But unfortunately, when we see it on the screen like that, it's like, oh, this is a thing that happens. It does not happen that often. So, yeah, I don't think this movie could be made now. But, yeah, she sets it up, and she actually, she's smart. She knows how to use DNA in her favor, and she makes it look like he raped her. And I mean, how can he argue with that? I mean, he knows he didn't do it, but it looks like he's in big trouble.
Yeah, I could not figure out how he's going to get out of it. A couple of plot points. There's this carousel in the attic that her dad put together piece by piece. It's so over the top, but can you imagine having that in your attic as a kid? That would have been my dream.
I know. I mean, if I can't have Carrie in my attic.
This is getting creepy again, Meg.
What? No,
the restraining order is going to show up,
yeah.
like on your doorstep the day after this airs.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing. It's this amazing carousel, and I think it represents like innocence and childhood and fathers and daughters and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's just really super cool.
The dad, speaking of the dad, in this movie, people probably recognize him from That 70s Show, which I never watched, but I know people like it. The thing that I know him from is Dead Poets Society. Do you love that movie as much as I do?
Yeah, that's such a good movie. That's why you need to watch House. I just realized. I can't think of the actor's name, but he's in House.
Yeah.
From Dead Poets Society. She was just asking me if she should watch House, and there's the universe connection back. Yeah, that's a great movie. And he's also in an episode of the X-Files. I wonder, he must be a Canadian actor, I'm guessing, because this was filmed in BC, and he was in Grotesque episode of the X-Files, Kurtwood Smith.
The fashion in this movie is so 90s, and like we were saying, especially the girlfriend character, no matter what she wears, it's not flattering, and Carrie Elvis can get away with anything, but it seems like even like other men and women, that nothing is flattering in this movie.
No, I mean, even on Carrie, like, everything's so big, like, everybody looks like they're wearing gunny sacks. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I guess Alicia Silverstone's wearing more provocative clothing because, of course, she's trying to seduce Carrie, but yeah, the girlfriend character that he's dating, who's an actual woman and not a child, her outfits are so 90s.
Yeah, 90s fashion is not great. My next question, and I probably already know the answer to this, but did you have a lot of crushes on boys?
Let me tell you. Yeah, actually, it's really weird. So when I moved to Minnesota, I had never met anybody with the name Luke before. Other than Star Wars, like, I didn't know anybody was named Luke. Like, I just didn't. And when I moved to Minnesota, all of a sudden, every guy named Luke I thought was cute. Like, I can think of 4 Lukes that I was in love with.
But did you think every guy with every name was cute?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so I ended up marrying a Luke. So I feel like there's something in a name. But, yeah, I was always crushing on someone.
I was telling Meg yesterday that, like, I remember being in preschool, and this was my first real time with, other kids and boys, because I didn't do daycare. My grandma took care of me. But the first time I was in preschool, like, I was boy crazy.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I don't remember preschool, but I remember kindergarten, just, like, fixating on boys. And it's funny because it's like, why are some people like that and some people not? But I've always been boy crazy.
Yeah, I have too. And I mean, I still am, I guess.
Yeah, it has not gone away. It has not gone away. Yeah, I mean, and I feel like I used to just think, well, because I don't think boys are as interested in girls right away. So it took a while for them to catch up. But yeah, I've always had crushes. I always had the Teen Beat pictures on my wall of, like, Jonathan Brandis and Fred Savage and Carrie whenever I got a picture of him.
Oh my gosh, those magazines, and like you can tear out the pictures and put them on your
Yeah.
wall, and then the problem that you would have when like you liked a guy on one side and the other side.
Oh yeah, and it's like how do I do this? How am I gonna tape this up?
How do I choose? Like why? I mean, if anybody should be like female serial killers, it's us.
Yeah,
but we're not.
that's true. I don't want to hurt them though.
That's what Casanova said in Kiss the Girls. They're extraordinary.
Yeah. I mean, it all makes sense, don't you think?
So he ends up, getting away at the end, and after all this trouble, and she is put into sort of an institution, and now she's crushing on her therapist. But what do you think? I mean, is this movie a problem for feminists, feminism?
Yeah, I mean, probably. I don't think it would be hard to see the breaks and the seams in this movie. And I mean, he puts himself in a situation where he's seduced by a 14-year-old girl. She's like put in this sort of villain role, even though, I mean, let's face it, she is a child. I think it's probably good that she didn't actually murder anyone, but they did say she like murdered some guy before that, so I don't know. But yeah, of course it's problematic, but I think that it's done in a way that doesn't completely put her in sort of the zone of like a faceless villain or anything like that. So I mean, I think she has some depth. I mean, she likes Wuthering Heights, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, she's a good guy. Meg is gonna defend her.
Yeah.
The next article Meg is writing is the defense of, and then her character.
Yeah. Why it's okay to do all the things she did to gain Carrie's love.
Love Meg, Carrie Ellis. If he's at a con, we're gonna fly there because you need to sit on his lap.
And I'll bring him that article I wrote.
You'll have it tattooed on your flesh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine meeting Carrie Ellis? He's so wonderful.
We need to rank this movie, and we need to use something for the scale. 0 being you hated it, 10 being it's a perfect movie. What do you want to use, Meg? Because this is your thing. Do you want to use copies of Wuthering Heights, or is there something more Carrie specific?
What about Carrie Butts?
Oh my God. The door is open. He literally is in a towel, and they show him in the shower?
It's all I need in life.
Oh my gosh. Okay, The Crush. How many Carrie Butts do you give it?
Okay, it's not that great of a movie. I have to give it 6 Carrie Butts because it's problematic, but I think Alicia Silverstone does a really good performance, and I think Carrie's in it, and obviously he exists, so that's all that matters. And it's sort of in that, like I said, that single white female vein, so those are kind of fun 90s movies. But, it's not really that good, so 6.
I'm giving it 5 Carrie Butts and a half.
Okay.
The right cheek.
The right cheek. Obviously, that's the best one.
Oh, yeah. I have never seen this movie. I enjoyed it, but I think the reasons I enjoyed it are the reasons that Meg based her personality on this movie.
I was just an empty shell before this movie, looking who I could be, and then I married someone that looks as close to Carrie Ellis as I could.
It's just she's in a holding pattern. She's just waiting for Carrie himself. Well, we hope that you're crushing on someone in a much more sane way and healthy way this week. Until next time. What do you want to say?
I just want to say, and legal way.
Well, yeah. Is it legal? That's from Star Wars Episode 1. Okay.
I don't know that.
Okay,
I
never
don't
mind.
know that reference.
See you in the horror section. Or we'll see you behind bars, Meg.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'll see me creeping around the corner.